So welcome everyone. Welcome today to our Glass Reflections, hosted every Thursday, where we interview glass artists, businesses, and educators to explore how they're using glass art for a vehicle for self-care, how they create sustainable careers, all while highlighting the resiliency of glass artists. So my name is Lauren. I use she, her pronouns. I will be your host today. I am the Communications and Social Media Manager at GAS. I am currently located in Seattle, so I would like to acknowledge that I am on the traditional land of the Duwamish people and honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. Today, I am so excited to welcome Eric Hess from Sanctuary Art School. Sanctuary Arts is committed to bringing the glass arts to Shreveport, Louisiana. Their community outreach programs provide classes for the elderly at nursing homes, for veterans dealing with post-traumatic stress, individuals with physical disabilities, teens from Title I schools, children and families dealing with financial challenges, and so much more. And I'm so excited to get into it and talk to Eric, the director, and see what's going on. So welcome, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Just here in the studio. We have a big event tonight, so we're excited to be working in glass. It's the best place to be.
It's true. It's true. Well, yeah, before I dive into my questions, I would love just to give our audience a little bit of a background about you, just as an artist, how you're involved in glass, and kind of how you came to be involved with Sanctuary Art School.
Sure. I got my Master of Fine Arts at the University of Texas, Arlington, with Justin Ginsburg and the gang there. Just kept working at it, doing glass, and eventually I was one of the winners for the Stanislav Levinsky Award, and after that, things kind of changed, and I've been able to get into museums and stuff. But during that process, Shreveport, Louisiana, where some of my family is, didn't really have glass, so decided to develop a glass program here, and then in the process started realizing how glass could be utilized to heal and to improve people's lives. And the more you get into it, the more you want to do, because that kind of act is very selfish to do that. You get probably more out of it than the people you serve. So then we started getting a lot of volunteers, and they began to realize how important the programming was, and the outreach and helping local artists. And so it's really kind of evolved to a full open access not theater, it is kind of theatrical, isn't it, sometimes, but studio. So we're really pleased to be here and to do this type of programming.
Oh, that's so great. I was really impressed when I started to hear about just the sheer number of different programs you guys are engaged with. So I think, kicking off, one of the ones that I know was the first one that I heard about was the Glass Warrior program, and working with veterans with post-traumatic stress. So could you tell me about kind of how that program came to be, and a bit more about that program?
Well, I actually heard that other glass artists, so it's not a uniquely our idea, it was being done, researched it, and then contacted the therapist that worked on the base and asked her if she felt that it could be utilized. She did some research, and then she started sending us the soldiers. In the beginning, we did 2 soldiers, and then COVID hit. So, you close everything down, unfortunately. So we were able to pick back up this summer. We did 2 more. We're getting ready for 2 more to start. So probably 2 every 8 weeks is our goal. But it's amazing. You probably saw the video. If people go to our YouTube channel, they'll see the video of the first, one of the first 2 soldiers that were in the program and how effective it was for him. And in fact, it was so effective for him, he gave us the money to pay for the next soldier into the program. So anyway, it's very, very rewarding, because you could just see how working in glass provides a sense of calm. These soldiers have this kind of tunnel vision when they're in here. It kind of replaces that sitting constantly thinking about PTSD and all of the problems that created that. So it's very healing for them, and I love the Glass Warrior program, and we'll always have that. It was one of our first nonprofit programming, that and going into affordable housing, because as you're aware, most of these kids in affordable housing have no access to the arts. So they just love painting glass, doing mosaics. Because other than the hot shop, we do glass mosaics and glass. And now we're starting to bring in other artists that are going to bring their talents in, painting, clay, drawing, because we started to realize that only so many times can these children and others, come here. They wanted to start coming once a month. So now we're bringing in.
Yeah, could you just repeat that last bit? I think there's a little bit of interference, so I didn't catch it.
Oh, I was just saying that we we are going to add other mediums such as painting, clay, and those types of things as classes for all these individuals. Because not that glass isn't enough, but you want to give these individuals as much opportunity to utilize art in a way to help them.
Yeah. And what was it that made you start with glass in your program? Was it just your own background, or, what was it about glass in particular?
Oh, yes. I mean, primarily my own background and people in the community like the lovely Tim Tate up at the Washington School of Glass and others who, kind of inspired you. Um, and you and then just kind of doing research and finding out how glass has been utilized to help people. That was mainly because it was our primary material that we were working with, so why not utilize it to help people?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I know earlier this week as well, when you and I connected, you talked about some of the new programs that you guys have coming up through Shiners, through Lighthouse School, Volunteers of America. Do you want to walk me through some of those?
Sure. Actually, we have 3 new ones we're excited about. So Volunteers of America takes kids from Title I schools. They'll bring them here for ongoing classes once a month. That really kind of gets them off the street, gets them involved in the arts and in programming, and possibly an entrepreneurial program we're looking at starting, so that they can actually create work to start selling and give them kind of a career possibly. The Shriners Hospital, because I always talk to the organization heads to find out, well, why would you want to do this? And primarily, they want to bring the kids here before they have surgery. So it kind of gets their mind off of it. They get to do something fun and creative. So they'll be coming once a month. And now we're starting a new program with Louisiana Association for the Blind, where we're using textured glass tiles to do mosaics. So people that are partially blind or fully blind can also create artwork. And we're actually going to do that at their location in Shreveport and possibly expand to surrounding areas. And then nursing homes, kind of my favorite, because in America, I think we throw our elderly away, which is a shame. And the people that, out of all our programming, that seem to appreciate it most are the elderly. So we go there and do mosaics and painted glass, and it's just wonderful to see how happy they are, And then the people that work there, the staff, are just thrilled because they get to see the people that are in the residence be happy and have something to do, and the fact that we can kind of come there. And a lot of times, sometimes, organizations can come to us, which is great, and we can do demonstrations, and the kids love, you throw a piece of wax in a glass and it flames up, and they love the torches and all. And then, of course, we have an ongoing educational programming where people come and get demos, and I will teach them about the American Glass Arts Movement and really get people excited about glass. And hopefully, getting other glass artists to come here. And we want to really get other studios and start to develop more programming. And we just purchased a 15,000 square foot synagogue downtown Shreveport to open a full glass school. And we're going to be doing a capital campaign on that to raise money. And we're really excited about that because there's nothing like a Pilchuck or a Penland or any of those in the South, way down here central. And we think it's important that, because when I went to Pilchuck or Penland, I had to drive 35 hours. And now we're going to have something more regional, maybe not as big as those initially, but we want to give people the opportunity to train with international artists in this marketplace and in this region.
Absolutely. Access is such a huge factor in all of this. And I know it's something that we talk about a lot at Gas about, how we can make things more accessible, how we can just get the information out there. So that's great to hear that you guys are making moves for that in the South.
Yes. So it's very, very exciting. And, one thing I really want to mention, I know I'm on here talking, but, it does take a village, it does take a team, and I'm just one person. And yes, I had an idea, but it's not all about me. We just have some wonderful people, board members, volunteers, glass artists, that come together that make this a reality. So it really is a team, and it really is, even on the national basis, people that have come together to said, we'll support you. We want to see this kind of programming continue. We want to see that school built there. So that's really wonderful. So, our pathway is really about it being group and not just an individual.
Well, and that's a great segue to another question that I had. That I know one of the things that we hear a lot from our community is people who want to start these types of programs that either have a small hot shop or have their own business and they want to get more involved in the community. Do you have any insight or any advice that you could share of how people could start their own programs?
Yeah, so my suggestion is you don't have to go big, right? We didn't start with all of these programs. We started with the Glass Warrior program. So, you're starting every 8 weeks with 2 soldiers. So, yeah, I mean, if every glass studio in this country just took on helping 2 to 10 people a year, that would be great. I mean, it doesn't have to be 6,000 people like we support every year. But I think that you can do that if you want to become a nonprofit, like we are. Of course, you should get a lawyer, on your board of directors, start doing some of the programming, and then apply to be a nonprofit. Just my suggestion is don't be overwhelmed. Start with one program. Check with your local housing developments, check with nursing homes, and see. There are a lot of people that do kiln programs that can go into nursing homes and, do those kind of programs and on an ongoing basis. So, yes, I would imagine that if, people can get in touch with me if they're looking to do it big, but if they want to just reach out and, just touch a few people's lives a month and help them, then, do that. Just do some of that. And I think they're going to feel so great about it that they're going to want to do more.
That's great advice. I think, yeah, just half the time it's like, you just got to start doing it and figure it out as you go along. And then you'll keep working at it to make it better. So that's great. Yeah. So wonderful. Well, one of the other things that I really wanted to talk to you about too was in our conversation before, you mentioned a lot about accessibility, and not just accessibility in terms of, having, gaining access, but accessibility in terms of making sure that the spaces are accommodated to be used by every person with every type of ability. So I was wondering if you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, so we are a fully accessible studio, just dealing with the physical aspect. We have a wheelchair bench that we designed and developed, so anybody in a wheelchair can utilize that. Fully accessible studio, but access to me is not only that, it could be financial. Well, I really want to get into arts, but I really can't afford it. Or, I have, family issues, or I can't really travel there. That's difficult. So, the key is to really figure out a way to make it fully accessible for everyone. The reason why our name is Sanctuary Glass Studio is because we want everybody to feel safe here, no matter what the isms are. economic, sexual orientation, race, all of those things. We're called sanctuary because it is a sanctuary. We want people to feel free that they can come hang out here, watch demos, talk to us, feel safe no matter who they are, and be a part of this community. So that has become a big part of who we are. We are finding that people are coming here because they feel it's a safe place for them.
And how do you work? I know, like, so many, especially as so many different arts organizations work to accommodate, um, accommodate all of these different, accessibility points. How do you keep that sustainable within your business? Is it just something that you incorporate into your mission so that, it's always there from the get-go, or what's kind of your approach?
Yeah, it's kind of there from the get-go, and also, it's very important to a lot of our granting organizations and funding sources. But we were kind of already there. I mean, we didn't have to do that to get the funding. We were always wanting to provide that and be there. Being LGBTQ directed has been really important for us because, especially a lot of times you have a lot of discrimination, and in larger cities, it's much easier for that community. So, our focus is constantly on just keeping the door open. It's always part of our policy. It's not something that we have to work at because we all agree, our board, everybody, that this is who we are and who we want to serve. So, yeah, it's there.
That's great. And could you look to, like, in the community, either within the glass world or, within nonprofits or organizations, who do you look to for inspiration or for, ideas and other kind of entrepreneurial support or accessibility innovations?
Yeah, so on 2 points of that, because we do create your owns and classes that we are paid for, that helps fund our nonprofit programming also. So we do have the business side too. But the glass community, people are like lovely. Um, you know, um, we're good with like Mary Schaefer and Tim Tate and just all these people around the country that share ideas, and it's really important that we all kind of come together and talk and share ideas, tell each other what's successful. And to younger glass blowers, don't feel afraid to call successful studio owners and ask them, how, can you help me? How do I go about this? How do I go about developing a plan? How do you do marketing and advertising? How do you do strategic planning? All of that is really important that us in the glass community share with each other and, help one another.
I couldn't agree with that more. I know it's something that I have been encouraging, folks and every single intern that comes through, our office that, please reach out to us, because whether it's, an artist or an arts administrator, we all do this work for a reason, and it's because we're so passionate about it. So we're always happy to share that information with another fellow passionate individual.
Right. That's very, very, very important. And yeah, people really do kind of come together. I haven't had a instance when I would write someone on Facebook and say, "Oh, well, can you help me with this, or do you know where I can go for this for a source?" Uh, you know, the glass community is just a group of wonderful, lovely people. So
Hmm.
I just encourage our younger people to get to know studio owners and successful glass artists and learn from them. A lot of us, we provide free studio for MFA and BFA students, and they come from all over. Uh,
Oh,
we have a student coming from Tulane University's program. She's going to work on some pieces she has commissioned. We have some come from UTA. Some of the other universities are a little bit further away, but we want to make sure that we're supporting our next generation.
oh, that is so great. Yeah, it's so important. That's one of the reasons we created our Pay What You Can student membership, is because we just want to, like, students come together, come to gas, come, and let's all network and get to know each other, because they're the next generation.
Right, exactly.
Hmm. Wonderful. Well, I think yeah, we're I just have a couple last questions left. So can you think of for the other artists and guests listening, are there any ways that artists could utilize these kind of techniques, or do you have any tips that you could share for other glass artists who could use some of these elements of self-care and emotional management in their everyday practice?
You mean for them individually?
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. Glass is just so wonderful, and working with glass, I think it automatically brings you joy and helps you. And everybody in their life is going through something and is facing challenges. The key is you know, to keep working, to keep focused, to take, don't become overwhelmed. It's just like working with glass. I've worked with many glass artists, and they'll just throw down their pipe and get upset. And you know, life is that way. You're going to have break glass sometime. You're going to have difficulties. So you get back on the pipe and you get working again, and that's the way life is. And so, working in glass is kind of a reflection of that, that we need to face our challenges. And yes, sometimes people go overwhelmed, but, you know, like getting back to the glass community is very supportive. I see it all the time where on Facebook, we have one artist, his studio burned down, and all the artists came to him and did a campaign to raise the money. There was another artist who was facing cancer, and all the responses were, "We're with you, give us a call, you want to talk anytime." So that's important, and I think the younger community needs to start communicating with others in the glass and start to form those relationships. You may not be able to go to the conferences or go to Pilchuck or Penland and things like that. But you can talk to people on Facebook. You can communicate with them, and it's been my experience that most will want to share, techniques and ideas, and talk to you about how to build your career, how to develop your career. If it depends on what you want to do as an artist.
Absolutely. No, I think that is great advice. That's great advice. Well, wonderful. Well, I think we have hit the portion of our chat where we're ready for questions from the audience. So, those who are listening in, please let us know if you have any questions or any comments, anything for Eric in particular, or for the Sanctuary Art School and their Glass Studio program. Yeah, we'll just give it a second here and see if anybody has any queries. But I think maybe we have covered it all for today. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Eric. Is there the last thing I would love for you to share is how can people find out more about Sanctuary Art School and find out more about you guys?
Right. So we have two Facebook pages. One is Sanctuary Glass Studio. One is Sanctuary Art School. That's all the nonprofit. And then we have a website, which is sanctuaryartschool.org. We invite everybody to follow us. Please communicate with us. If you're thinking of doing some of the things we're doing and you need help, please contact me. I'm always available. Love helping people. And, and thank you, Glass Art Society, for having me today. We really appreciate you guys. And everybody should realize how important you are to the glass community, and appreciate everything you guys do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, we're nothing without all the amazing glass members like you out there who are just, moving and shaking and making things happening. So we're happy that we can at least be the thread that, hopefully joins everybody together.
And I'd also like to mention Luke Meyer as our wonderful glass blowing artist, and Catherine Dixon, who just we hired on to help us run the organization. That they're such a big part of what we do, and we really appreciate them. Yes.
Wonderful. Yes, like you said, it takes a village. So kudos to the whole team over at Sanctuary Art School, and have a great rest of your day. And thank you so much again.
Okay, you take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.